Okay, y'all. So I'm gonna do a short little Raw review, right quick. Nothing major. This past week's Raw. So we had Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman. Outlining their vision for the future, and it was very mid. Paul Heyman is trying to bring some life to this group, and I don't see it yet. I really don't see it. I mean, does Seth Rollins need Paul Heyman? No. Seth Rollins can talk on the mic very fine for himself. Braun Breaker probably needs Paul Heyman. Bronson Reed definitely needs Paul Heyman, but I honestly hope this faction fails. This was a dumb move by, I think, WWE to put all of them together. I would have rather Paul Heyman go off and maybe even, bring Becky Lynch into the fold or something, and he manages a woman for the first time, and make her champion for a year or so. But I mean, it was a, if you missed that promo, you ain't missed nothing. Then we have Chad Gable, Dragon Lee, and Penta in a match. And this match was actually fire because these people could actually wrestle. Now, it looks like Penta botched like a DDT type move when he tried to do it on Chad Gable and Dragon Lee, but Chad Gable was fine. He continued to wrestle the match, and I mean, it was a great match. They had some interference from Vikingo, but that's just setting up for Worlds Collide, which I'm gonna definitely check out Worlds Collide. I don't even want to say I was a fan of AAA or AAA because when I knew about AAA, it was hard to sort of watch on the state in the States. And I would just catch highlights and clips of wrestlers, on YouTube, but I never watched it weekly. It wasn't a weekly type watcher. I would just watch it here and there, kind of like how I did Dragon Gate and some of those other promotions like Noah and stuff. But we gonna move to the next thing. Of course, Rusev defeated Tozawa, which is very, I'm not gonna say very sad, but Rusev isn't getting any pop, and Tozawa isn't getting any. Tozawa got a bigger pop than Rusev. Now, the sad part is Tozawa is actually a good wrestler. Like, we honestly need to be putting Tozawa, in matches against people he could actually possibly defeat. Tozawa is, I don't really want to put him up, and be like, oh, you could just body people like Kofi Kingston and stuff like that. But Tozawa, as a wrestler, should honestly be on the same level with your Carmelo Hayes, your Aleister Blacks. He was a beast in Japan. And, you come to WWE and they job you out. They job you out. And, he's one of those safe wrestlers that, won't get people hurt and stuff. So, but they make them jobbers and whatever. And, Sheamus comes out, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have a Rusev versus Sheamus probably at Man, Lord, Bugs outside. Next, we have World Tag Team Champions. The Creed Brothers, the War Raiders, and New Day. This, the Creed Brothers are probably some of the top wrestlers in WWE right now. The Creed brothers are very athletic, very believable. So is the War Raiders and New Day, but the Creed brothers remind me of prime Brock Lesnar. That's what they remind me of. And I think in the future, both the Creed brothers will be like the top guys in WWE, maybe in like the next 10 years if they don't get just completely jobbed out. But I want to say give us the Creed brothers versus the Street Profits in the future. We got to get that at least one time. We have to get that at least one good time, though. You know, that was it. New Day gets that win. Next, Gunther talking to Jey Uso. No one cares. You know, I'm guessing they're gonna have a title shot on a Monday Night Raw because Gunther was like, in 2 weeks I'll see you for that title, and I'm like, okay, 2 weeks is Money in the Bank, but Jey Uso gonna be in a match at Money in the Bank, so it must be on Raw. Kairi Zane defeats Liv Morgan, and I honestly was about to cry because I was like, oh, Kairi Zane not about to win this match, and then she hit her up with the roll up and won. But why isn't Kairi Zane doing the insane elbow anymore? Does she just can't take that bump anymore or something? Kairi Zane should be hitting that insane elbow. I don't know what's the problem, but she should be hitting that elbow. I mean, it's the cleanest elbow, the best elbow that you can possibly get. So what's the problem with that? But next, we're going to move on. Lyra Valkyria, Becky Lynch got into it. They had some words. I guess that they're going to force Lyra down our throats. And I don't care. Lyra actually could wrestle somewhat. She's getting better. But those girls that's coming from NXT right now is going to be a problem in the future for Lyra. That's all I'm saying. And I guess Becky Lynch has to get Lyra over because Becky Lynch is probably going to be out of the company in the next 3 to 5 years. So, do your job, put over that talent. That's what that is. Seth Rollins defeats Sami Zayn and Finn Balor in a triple threat match. This match actually went hard. It was a good Raw match. This match and the Penta match made Raw mid. Kairi Zane and Liv Morgan could have been a really top match, but I think Kairi was rusty, Liv was a little bit rusty, and their timing was off a little bit. If you notice, if you watch any Asuka match, any Bianca match, honestly, if you watch Bianca versus Liv, their timing and chemistry is great. Kairi doesn't have chemistry pretty much with anyone on this roster right now. And that's only because she's been out of it. But if you actually utilize Kairi, utilize, Dakota Kai when she was here, they would have better chemistry. I would see this is why you need house shows and you need WWE Speed and you need these other events so these wrestlers could actually wrestle, 3 times a week. And they could have better chemistry with working with each other. But, sorry to go off on that little side rant, but no one cared. I mean, we all thought Seth was going to win this match anyway. It's so predictable at this point. I give Raw a 1.5 to 2 out of 10 stars. Their matches were okay. I would even go to say they were good. The storyline is just shit. The creative is shit. And that's the problem. If the storyline wasn't shit, you know, we would probably be seeing a 5 to 6 out of 10 stars. But there's no creativity with this nonsense. You know, CM Punk, he came back, hit the GTS on set. How many times is he going to do that? CM Punk needs to just hurry up, finish with this feud. I'm thinking CM Punk might win Money in the Bank and actually cash in on John Cena. But I'm also thinking CM Punk is going to be out of here very soon. And I'm thinking they're going to let Seth win, cash in on Cena. Seth goes to SmackDown, and that's going to be the 2026 era of WWE going forward. Seth on SmackDown sounds great. Braun Breaker may go to SmackDown as well. Roman is probably going to Raw. Street Profits probably going to Raw. Bianca's going to Raw. Julia's going to stay on SmackDown. Rhea Ripley's probably going to stay on Raw because Netflix wants that. But I'm seeing how 2026 is shaping up. But that's your Raw review. Very quick, very fast. 2 out of 10 stars. That's what I gotta give it. I can't give it nothing higher. 2 out of 10 stars for Raw.